and welcome to HawkTalk. It's my geek culture podcast where we talk about geek stuff, nerdy stuff, and all sorts of awesome. My name is Danny Shepard, and joining me, as always, is my lovable band of ridiculous men, starting with Tony Smith.
What it do, baby boo?
Jeremy Lee. And Noel Shefflin.
What the
And our guest on the show for this week is our manager and our pal, John Carl. The John Carl.
Hi.
L. John Carr.
Does Brian Altano know you steal his shit?
No, he doesn't. Please don't tell him.
Okay.
He'll never watch this show.
Yeah.
He does shout you guys out a lot on Beyond though. So
yeah. That's
I just
cool.
keep sending him like Bulk and Skull stuff, and then it like reminds him to keep shouting it out.
Nice.
Man.
By the way, Brian, we've been listening to your album, Misanthrope.
Bro.
Oh
dude,
my God,
it's
dude.
so good.
It's some of the
so
coolest
good.
shit I've
Oh my
heard
God.
in a while. Talented
Anyway,
man.
yeah.
Dude, that's hilarious that you guys are just starting to listen to that. So I feel like I've been listening to all of Brian's stuff, like the Comedy Button, and I listened to Misanthrope like 2 years ago.
So you
It
listened to
feels
it
like.
before it was cool?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you're so cool,
no,
bro.
I was late to the bandwagon too. So I did it.
Whatever.
I did it a few years after it was cool
Yeah.
to be the first person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
This week's fun ISMA fact is brought to you by John Carl. So
the JC
John,
hit new TV show.
it's not true.
What?
The JC.
Okay.
JC,
or is it
JC
the
and the
OC?
Boogie, man.
I'm so confused.
What's the fun fact of the week, John?
The fun fact, and this comes from the fact that I cosplay as Hawkeye at conventions. During the Matt Fraction run of the Hawkeye comic book, Hawkeye actually loses his hearing, so he has to read lips and use sign language and such to get around. So, yeah.
Cool,
So
man.
He's deaf.
He is deaf.
So did you go full method and like learn how to lip read and sign language?
No, because I do the Marvel Cinematic version of Hawkeye, and that was never a requirement. So if something strange goes down in Infinity War, I might have to, but I'm pretty sure all the major plot points, that's not one that's going to come up.
You feel guilty about the death of Quicksilver?
No, I laugh about that.
Okay.
There's a great video on the Whiskey and Waffles Facebook page where I make the inappropriate joke about that, and a girl dressed as Scarlet Witch slaps the hell out of me.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Didn't that go viral?
It went viral in Germany.
In Germany. What?
It had like over 100,000 views on it, and of the 100,000 views, 88,000 of them were in Germany.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Germans like seeing girls with a racially ambiguous accent from Eastern Europe slap a white guy, apparently.
Slap Americans.
Yeah.
There you
Okay,
go.
that makes.
I mean,
that makes
I
sense.
too enjoy that. So
Let's get to the first topic of the show. The first topic is recently, it looks like Marvel released announcement sort of
Yes.
behind
Dude,
the scenes
they make
preview.
so much money and they're so big that they make a trailer to let people know that they started production.
Yeah,
that's
it's literally
ridiculous.
just production is started. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
What?
But then you see Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Star-Lord all just sitting
Dude.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. There's Spider-Man and Iron Man, and then Star-Lord is standing there in the same frame, and this is for Infinity War?
what?
Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
It is a war on infinity.
Infinity War.
Thank you, young Hemsworth, for adding that.
You got it, bro.
Young Hemsworth.
That's what I'm here for.
So I mean, they showed like a little bit of. They gave away a good amount of like concept art and stuff
Yep.
like that. What did you guys think of that?
Thanos
Anything
looks
stand
brutal.
out?
Like there was a shot of Thanos just like sitting there, arms crossed. I'm like, that dude big.
Yeah. He's
That dude big.
I like the concept art. It looked really cool. I liked how they the when we first saw him. When was it? Was like
Avengers.
the first Avengers
Yeah.
at the back end
He
of
turned
it.
and smiled.
He turned and smiled. You didn't really get a good idea of how big he was, but when you see that specific little picture, that concept art, you're like, that's a large thing. That's a very large thing.
That's a big
That's
being.
a big.
Well, I think the big piece was when you first saw him, you see just the chair reveal and the smile and stuff like that. But in later versions of seeing Thanos, you actually see him with size comparison to other people, and you start to realize how big he is. And I think when you finally get down to it, when you see him on screen, he's going to dwarf the Hulk. Like, that's the thing. I think he's going to feel bigger than the Hulk. Not by a lot. It's kind of it's kind of like seeing like the Big Show next to Shaquille O'Neal, where it's like, damn, that guy is still big. You know?
Have you seen The Rock stand next to Shaq? It's
I have not.
It
ridiculous.
looks like a little tyke.
Yeah,
The
you know how
Rock.
big the Rock is? The Rock stands up to like
The
his
Rock
nipple.
he's a building. The Rock.
Well, it's
The Rock is
that's like
his-
seeing
what's
the
the
Rock
place of
and
business?
the Rock and Vin Diesel next to each other for
Yeah.
the first time, where you're like, oh, Vin Diesel looks like a baby next to him.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's like that comparison where you see the Earth and then the sun and then, the next biggest star and then it
Yep.
just keeps going.
And
How
you're
big
like,
did
yeah,
it
dude,
get?
we live on that little
Speck.
dot.
that little marble.
Yeah. What was Thor holding in the concept art?
So we were talking about that beforehand, and there were a few theories. Danny, yours was what was it? Stormbringer.
Yeah,
Breaker.
that's what I thought it was.
Stormbreaker, sorry. And then I thought it was the axe that is in the Unworthy storyline, which is what Thor is going through
Yeah.
currently.
I think it's a karaoke microphone. What do you think it is? Sorry, continue.
How do you
I
guys?
How do we deal with this?
Yeah,
Wait,
just curious.
what?
I don't know.
Just gonna gloss over that really
We
quick.
just sometimes we ignore it and just keep on going.
that is condenser microphone.
Yeah.
Sometimes we address it.
Is
And
it
this
just
sort-
easier not to?
Sometimes it's
easier.
easier not to. Specifically with Noel.
Okay.
You'll learn.
Okay.
I thought
I mean, we got a lot of time left, so I'll just get
Okay.
accustomed to it. No, I think it's the axe. I think something is going to happen within Planet Hulk, and that's kind of why he changes and develops as a character.
Yeah.
And I think when you get to the second Infinity War, whatever it ends up being called, that's when he's going to regain Mjolnir. That's
Infinity War 2.
Crusade-ish.
Infinity Wars.
Infinity
Sada.
Sada.
Good. Good
So,
thing we're not marketing
I
guys.
didn't
like-
get to take a look at that concept art too much, but at a glance, it looks like the Loki scepter.
You know what it actually looks like? The more I keep thinking about it, I don't remember the name of it, but it was the blade / spike / axe that Buffy had in the latter seasons of Buffy the Vampire
Yeah.
Slayer. It actually resembled that in certain ways, which is again why I think it's the axe that he currently has in the Unworthy story.
The vampire dildo?
What?
What if they-
What you say?
Yep, just gonna
So
ignore that.
whole half of the table.
Yep. What if it's somehow in Civil War or not Civil War, Thor Ragnarok?
It would be amazing if it was in Civil War.
Yeah, right. What if in Thor Ragnarok they somehow upgrade Mjolnir like magically or something? Is
I
that
imagine
something
the
that
way
could
Thor
happen?
Ragnarok is gonna play out is that when he's on Planet Hulk, he's not gonna have any weapon. He's
Yeah, yeah.
like a prisoner.
Right.
And by the time he gets back to Asgard, he's either going. I don't think he's gonna end up with Meow Meow until the end. I don't think he will be reunited with his one true hammer until the end.
To the end of Infinity War?
No,
or
to the end of Ragnarok.
to the end of the end of time.
End of time. Yes. At the end of time,
Indeed.
like right at the end of time, he'll get it.
Yeah. In the end, it doesn't even matter.
I'm
Don't.
Nope. I'm not doing
Don't
it. We're
start.
not doing it.
Nope. Copyright. Don't touch it.
You're gonna get a flag.
No.
Our singing is too accurate to Linkin
Yeah,
Park.
that's what it is. That's what it is.
We will get a copyright flag.
So what do you think is going to happen? Do you kind of think that formula of
I do think it's going to be something's going to happen within Ragnarok, and if you go back to the Infinity Gauntlet comics and stuff like that, you kind of need the moment where everybody dies,
Yeah.
and then what are the things that happen after that save everything? And I think Mjolnir is one of those epic moments. Like look at Age of Ultron. They put so much emphasis into how important Mjolnir is. They
Yes,
put
they do.
so much in
Yeah.
people being able to make it like budge just a little bit and stuff like that. Like it's set up essentially to be the second most powerful item in the Marvel cinematic.
Most definitely.
Because you can't count the Infinity Stones as separate items. Those are all a part of this one bigger object.
Yeah.
And then that's the number 2 to me. So
I would agree.
It's like
unless
So you think
unless,
those two weapons are going to go head to head?
I think it's going to be a part of it.
I think the hammer is going to have a stone on it, and it's
Interesting.
going to go against an incomplete gauntlet.
Interesting.
Whoa.
I didn't even think about that.
That's really cool. That's a really good
Like
idea,
maybe
dude.
Vision dies and like he gets the stone, and like Thor gets that stone or something. I don't know.
I feel like Vision's not gonna die. I feel
Or
like they're
like-
not
if-
gonna-
like,
I
if
feel-
he sacrificed
Something's
himself, that
going to
would be-
happen. It's kind of like
A bunch
in
of
Harry
people
Potter.
are going to die.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's kind of like in Harry Potter where Harry is the last Horcrux and he ends up dying, but he comes back because of the resurrection stone.
Yeah.
I actually
So-
think what's going to happen in Infinity Wars, the events that happen in the first one, I think a lot of characters are going to die, and someone is going to turn back time so that they can come back for the second one.
That's where Doctor Strange comes in.
Yeah, good. I love cop-outs.
I love cop-outs.
Hey, man.
I love
Marvel.
not committing to deaths. So we'll see if they actually kill anybody off. But
I mean, when they bring Slipknot back in the next Suicide Squad movie, you're going to
Yeah.
be pissed about that, right?
I love
you know
Slipknot.
what, man? Like,
Psychosocial.
I mean, I'm not saying that DC's had 3 movies.
I know, I'm
3
messing with
movies,
you.
and I would say 2 lukewarm, 1 completely negative reception. But like,
Don't worry,
they
I'm
haven't
not.
had any
I'm not going to
time.
get into the Marvel versus DC debate with you on this one.
They haven't
We've
had
done
time
that to death in real life.
Yeah, right. It'll never end. But like, they've had what? This is the 14th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
Ish.
within that area, and the only substantial death we've seen so far is Quicksilver, right? Which is that death
For
of a character introduced.
substantial.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
character introduced in the movie. The movie he was introduced in is the
Is where
movie
he
he
died.
died in.
This many hours into Game of Thrones, so many characters have died.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, I totally get not wanting to kill everybody off, but I don't know if people are going to be able to handle it when they finally kill someone.
If they do the Infinity Gauntlet of kill everybody too, like I don't know if for the cinematic Marvel fans that they're going to be okay with that. 'Cause
I don't
it's
think
like,
so.
I think you get away with a couple major deaths. Personally, I would love to see it be as accurate to the comic as that is, like just off a bunch of people.
You remember
Yeah.
that moment we saw Tony Stark among all the dead Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely
Is
going to
that a
happen.
premonition or just a hallucination?
I think it's a premonition.
On what you guys were saying about the about Mjolnir,
Meow meow.
my opinion of that, I think that Mjolnir is going to play a super major part in defeating Thanos.
Yep.
But I don't think Thor is going to have a major part.
I'm
in
okay
defeating
with that.
Thanos.
Yeah.
I think Captain America is going to take the hammer and
think
be
so?
the one to deliver the final blow. He's the
Interesting.
only one who made that hammer slightly budge, and he has picked it up in the comic.
Except Vision.
Oh, Vision has too.
Yes.
That's true.
I don't think
Is it because
Vision
he's worthy, or is it because he's a robot? I
worthy.
don't.
It's
He's
based
worthy
on worthy.
af. Yeah.
Damn.
Dude, that part was just incredible.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
That
That,
was
was the
such a
best
cool
part
moment.
of that.
He just like
Yeah.
so chill.
he's
He's
just
like,
like,
here you go.
here you go. He's like,
Everyone's just staring at it.
And then when,
dude, Chris
when-
Hemsworth's face. He's like,
no later when he uses he's like it's really imbalanced. Like yeah, no, it has a lot of weight on the back end. So good.
Wow.
I love the part where when Thor kind of saw the hammer slightly move, he was like, when Captain America was picking
he's
it
like
up,
laughing.
he was like,
He's like, this. He's like,
He's a he's a little worried. Yeah.
he's like, you see it in his face, where he's like, oh, shh.
It's like
he's
what
like,
the
wait a minute.
My,
He's like, all right, that's it.
my favorite
That's
is still
enough.
the team up of Rhodey and Iron Man together, just trying to do it, and they're putting all their
Yeah.
repulsors on. And it's like, no,
Not doing
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Scarlet. I always get Scarlett Johansson,
Mixed with
Scarlet Witch.
fair.
Black Widow was just like, not even gonna try.
Wasn't there a deleted scene where she like actually made it move a little bit or something like that? I think I remember seeing that.
If there was, I didn't see
And
it.
they
I didn't
decided,
see
and
it.
they cut it specifically because like they didn't want to underplay Cap being the only one to make it like wiggle a little bit. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
There's
That
something
makes
there,
sense.
man. Feige knows what he's doing. Every
Yeah, that
single
wasn't an
detail.
I think actually would have been cooler to see her move it, not him.
that would have been cool.
I think the problem is like if you look at the character, she has done stuff that would prove her unworthy, like being an assassin, versus Cap. Cap is killed only when absolutely necessary. She was like, okay, orders,
Right.
done.
Well,
Yeah.
what is the definition of being worthy?
Oh, I'm not Asgardian.
Exactly.
I am
I'm sure
okay.
it's-
So what is the definition, Tony?
not Noel.
Got it. So specifically,
Cool.
not Noel.
Not
In the
Noel.
dictionary, you open up, there's a picture of Noel. It says, not this
It's
guy.
in parentheses.
Do you
not
think
Noel,
it's-
next to adjective?
Yeah, what is the definition of being worthy? Because is it being a good person? Because Thor is very arrogant.
He was
know,
arrogant.
He was arrogant.
He was
saved
arrogant.
the Earth.
lost his worthiness. But even still in Avengers, he's like, you
can redeem
humans
yourself.
are so petty and tiny. Like he's still got to be a dick.
Also, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
It's just stating facts.
Yeah.
He's just
very
observing.
objective in his I guess his own way.
I mean, I guess humans are petty and tiny in comparison to an Asgardian. Yeah.
Some
So
have
you're
very little
saying-
hands.
Huh. So you're
Anyway.
saying you can redeem yourself and be worthy of wielding the hammer.
Exactly. So,
Scarlet still isn't yet.
based on that rationale, she can redeem herself.
She better do something
can Captain
major.
America redeem himself? Has he redeemed
If he
himself after
isn't-
Civil War?
Was he wrong?
Was he wrong? Was there a wrong?
I think the
I don't
wrong.
know.
I think they're both wrong.
Who makes that
They-
judgment?
They're both wrong. If they just sat down and just
Thunderbolt Ross.
explained to each other what was happening, like grown-ups.
Yeah, y'all should just sat down in a room and talk for 2.5 hours. It would've
I'm
been-
just saying. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
make
they
it
should have done that. I'm
Tarantino.
just saying, like the whole thing, the whole movie could have been solved if he was just like, "Hey, Tony, this is what's going on. I have proof. Just give me 2 seconds, and I'll explain it all to you."
It's like,
Also,
okay,
my
go
best
ahead.
friend killed your parents.
He didn't
Yeah,
know
but like
that.
he didn't know that at that time. They didn't find that out until the end.
Yeah.
Spoiler
At
alert.
the end of the movie, it's like, so by the way, this happened.
my
your parents.
biffle done got your parents.
What?
What the hell is what?
Best friend for life.
What? What? Your biffle?
Best friend for life, bro.
Oh, best friend for life.
Yeah,
Biffle.
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 So just BFFL, best friend for life. I
You
thought
know-
for whatever reason when you said Biffle, I thought of
No.
Bizzle, the actual the.
No, you're supposed to do this.
Why? What?
What happens on this side of the table?
I
I don't
know,
know.
dude. Oh, it's because you did that. Didn't he do that one time? You were like this, and he was like,
Oh, probably.
no, that's not
zone.
a probably. That's a definitely.
I didn't mean to forget this special moment in your life, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
I don't even.
Wow.
What is this
Wow,
moment?
see? That's why he doesn't get to hold my hammer. Because he's mean. He's mean to his biffles.
Is that supposed to mean? So,
Anyway,
I love how little we've actually talked about Infinity War.
yeah.
impressive.
No, I mean we were talking about like kind of where everything's gonna.
I
tie
think-
in, but
I
do you
would
guys
really,
think it's gonna be good?
I would really like to see that happen. I would actually. Everybody's like, oh, I don't want to see Thor go head to head with Thanos. I think it would be really cool to
I
see
think it'd
that.
be dope, dude.
I think it would be sick.
I think it's great because I think he loses head to head.
that's
Yeah,
what
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. So
I love that.
And like they
aspect
see
of
a
it.
demigod just like fall, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
they're like, I did you get some great line from Rocket Raccoon. He's just like, well, we're screwed.
Wait, he is a god. He's not a demigod.
Flarked.
"That's right. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right."
Flarked.
He's like, well, we're flarked.
Yep.
Huh?
Flarked.
Read a comic that
Don't know
not
how to
DC.
read.
Ooh, drop the mic
Not
clap
surprised.
back.
You're not wrong.
I mean,
Wait, what are the Guardians going to be doing in Infinity War then?
I'm assuming Drax is going to have some very awkward moments.
Drax and Silence.
Yep. I'm assuming that Thanos is also going to have an army of minions, so it's not 54 people versus one.
Right.
Yeah.
There's going to be either the Chitauri or other random aliens like the Badoon or something. Like there's going to be other things
He
that
has
need
an
to be
army.
killed.
Yeah. Okay.
man,
You need
that's-
people to kill those generals and such.
Right.
It is a lot of characters and a lot of big name actors in this,
Yep. Yeah.
and you're telling me that they're all gonna get equal screen time?
No.
No, of course not.
Not even
No.
close. So who do you guys think is gonna get the most screen time?
Cap.
Robert Downey
Cap.
Jr. Are you kidding me? He's
Ooh,
gonna
I don't
get
know.
paid the most.
I don't know. That doesn't,
Absolutely
that doesn't
him.
necessarily mean he's going to get the most screen time.
I
Al-
think it. I think
Also, if they kill him off in this one, then it's like it explains why he's going to get the most screen time.
I think Spider-Man will probably play a huge
Yeah,
part.
I think Tom Holland's going to get a crap ton of screen time.
Which is awkward to me for some reason because I think in terms of like the scale of
Yeah.
power, he's kid Spider-Man. He's not like current comic book version of Spider-Man where he can figure out ways to survive these things that are totally out of his depth. Like he should be kind of like the weakling
out of his
in
league.
this.
What if he
yeah.
dies?
Yeah.
They won't kill him.
Yeah, I
No.
was gonna say.
What if
Oh,
Spider-Man
yes.
dies? He hasn't even he hasn't even had his own movie
Marvel
yet.
fucking killed Quicksilver. I'm just saying.
Good. I mean,
In the same
Whoa.
movie it was introduced. I'm just saying.
that slipped out.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. I'm a huge Hemsworth Thor fan, so I want to see Thor. I want to see more
Yeah,
of Thor.
I'm excited to see.
I feel like a small part of me was lost in Civil War because I didn't have Thor.
like you have so many big name actors, and you're just asking all of them
That was
to.
one
I
expensive
mean,
movie.
they did that with the
Yeah.
X-Men movies.
They did that with the X-Men movies, but this isn't like
This is
Benedict
good.
Cumberbatch is now going to play a
Hubert
supporting
Cumberdale.
role in this, right? Like,
Yeah.
Brenda
Cumbersplash.
you're probably your main
Cumbersplash.
characters: Iron Man, Captain America,
Thor and Hulk.
Thor and Hulk. But
Black
I think
Panther.
I think they're going to be sub characters. Like, I think because you got to think about who's going to play the big. I think Star-Lord,
Oh yeah.
like the
I mean,
heads
I-
of each branch.
I think that almost all the Guardians have to be B tier, and I hate saying that because I love the Guardians.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Guardians are essentially going to be what Ant-Man was in Civil War.
yeah.
So maybe they go do something on the side that has something else to do with the larger picture,
Yeah.
like a smaller battle or something.
You don't think they're gonna like butt heads with the Avengers when the
think they
Guardians
are.
first come back?
But
I think
that's
some of
gonna
the characters will for
I
sure.
think you have to.
I think Rocket
Yeah.
Raccoon's the obvious choice here.
Yeah.
To
He's
butt
a
heads with
hothead.
Well, these are
everybody.
aliens, and
Especially
then Star
Thor.
Lord has been away for what 30 years now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be so.
He
great.
comes back, it's like, oh my god, this is so different.
Rocket Raccoon and Thor.
He gets
the
an
dialogue.
iPod.
Yeah.
It's like, what is
this
that?
MP3 you speak of?
Yeah, can you believe like you see someone give Star Lord like an iPod, and then
Yeah.
you just see Captain America's like, dude, I don't understand it either.
Well, you think that Star Lord has witnessed a lot of different things in the universe
True.
and the galaxy, so he comes back and it's like, Earth is so behind. But it's
Yeah.
super different from what I remember.
That's true. Yeah.
Because he left when he was a kid, so he didn't like. I
Yeah.
don't imagine he knew a lot about Earth anyway.
Nope, just cassette tapes.
Yeah,
all
I'd
he had.
imagine probably all these characters might just have like one big scene.
Everybody
like,
gets
each-
a moment.
Yeah, they all get a moment.
Everyone
and
gets
that's
one.
it.
No, I mean, it is going to be a larger scale version of what you saw in Civil War, regardless of who they're fighting. But it's like Hawkeye had the scene with Vision, and
Yeah.
you know, you had the chase with Black Panther and stuff like that. Like everybody
have their
Spider-Man, Giant
moments.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it's going to come down to. Is everybody's going to get one great moment, and then the higher tier you work up is you're going to get more moments for those people.
Yeah.
It's really going to feel more like a highlight reel in certain cases than a full film if they don't do it right, because it's going to be moment, and you need those connecting pieces for
Yeah.
people to really care
It's
about
gonna be
it.
tricky, man.
How far apart is part 1 and 2?
I don't think they're part.
I know,
one
but
of
like
two
how
and
far
one.
apart
2
are
years,
2 years?
right?
Okay.
I think it's 2 years.
How many other movies are coming out in between?
If Marvel keeps the cadence of 3 a year, then it could be between 4 to 6, depending on where they fall in a calendar. I don't have that in front of me, but I think it's 2 years. Fred, can you confirm that? I'm going to turn you into Kevin.
Fred,
So you're
Confirm, please.
thank you. You're exactly like
Fred.
Kevin.
Fred, Google the release schedule for movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That was a
Only
great-
Marvel Cinematic
That
Universe.
was the most. That was the greatest
So
Kevin.
guys, if you heard John, he was like, "Hey, Fred, can you look that up?" And Fred is not even looking at John when he asked that. He's like, "Wait, what?"
or listening.
We got to
I
get
wasn't-
Fred
I
a
wasn't
mic
interested.
from that side of the room, and we got to give him a little laptop. We got to give him access to the computer that can put the information on the screen below.
yeah,
Anyway,
fucking YOLO.
Infinity War.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Are
fun.
you gonna punch me? Like,
I'm a,
I just didn't know what to do with my hands.
I'm a huge fan of the Avengers movies, man. Like really, like a lot of people. I think a lot of people try to the Avengers movies from Age of Ultron, and then these ensemble movies they're not really big fans of. And they like kind of like the more specific.
the focused ones.
Yeah, more focused movies where I'm like, I love the Avengers movies. Well, that's the thing too. I don't have any, I guess, specific barometer, I guess is the proper word, going into it because I never like read Marvel comics as a kid. So like walking into the to the Marvel Cinematic Universe for me is really cool to see all these characters that I'm not. I have.
You're
a good
learning as the movies
yeah,
go.
I really have a good introduction of them
Right.
because of the 14 movies we've had. But other than that, I really don't know a lot about them.
No, I mean, I think the problem I have with some of the single character movies is when you look at all the films that have come out, the only ones that I would consider flops from a storytelling perspective, whether or not they did good at the box office, was Hulk. I still don't like, and the second Thor movie. And those are the ones because
Yeah, no,
it
I don't
was
even
so-
remember the second
it
Thor
was,
movie.
The guy who's an incredibly talented actor couldn't speak English. That's the best breakdown I have for that movie.
Nice.
Huh.
Nice.
The troll guy. He wasn't speaking in English. He was speaking in troll language.
In Thor 2?
Yeah.
Who? What troll guy?
The leader, the main bad guy.
Antagonist?
Oh,
Yeah.
the dark
Troll
elf
guy.
dude?
Yeah, Dark Elf. There we go. Sorry, not troll.
What's his name? My girlfriend killed me.
Excuse you, man. Trolls and dark elves, completely different.
What is his-
troll. He
what
goes
is
the
his
troll
name?
guy.
Malekith.
Yeah,
Malekith.
yeah. Screw all the
Oh,
Asgardian
you're,
stuff.
you're talking about the character who got all his scenes cut so Loki could have more screen time?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like
That
I
guy.
said, an incredibly talented actor who got screwed.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean,
But
Yeah,
those
it's not like we haven't seen that happen before.
Wait, are you telling me that he learned this troll language?
No, he was speaking Dark Elf. My bad.
He was. Okay, sorry.
How am
So
I-
he was speaking dark elf language. He was actually speaking it.
He didn't actually speak in English. It was all this incredibly talented actor not speaking in words that we could understand.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
It
crazy.
just wasted his
Cool,
like.
man.
That
That's
movie,
incredible.
It's
This is-
incredible
This
you
isn't
forgot
Lord of the
that.
Rings, man.
Dude, that movie was so unmemorable
Yep.
for me that I forgot almost everything about that, and that's one of the big things. Like, oh yeah,
It was.
he didn't. Yeah, did he?
I remember this really awesome scene where like this crazy like world thing is like scraping across this four I don't even know what it was. It was like cement, and I was like, wow, this is crazy.
No, the most
that's it.
the most memorable part of that movie for me is it's one of the movies that does the Star Wars tribute where somebody gets a hand cut off.
Yeah.
That was the most memorable piece of
What
that.
was the after credit scene?
It was the twins, wasn't it?
It was dropping.
No, the twins was.
No, it was
that
it was dropping off the Infinity Stone to the Collector.
Yeah, you're right.
That was
You're
it.
right. You're
Okay.
right.
Yeah, because it was Lady Sif and
Steve.
Steve.
It's not Steve. Actually, there is a Steve in
Wasn't
this
is that
universe,
the one
but
with
it's not
Howard the
Steve.
Duck?
No,
Or was that
Howard
the
the
end
Duck
of-
was Guardian.
that was Guardians.
Guardians. You're right.
No, it was just really quick. Biggest of the Warriors 3 guys. Crap.
Yeah.
I wonder what it would
And he
look
was
like
just
if you
like-
put all the after credit scenes together into a movie.
It would be really like
Jump cutting.
Disjointed as
it would make no sense without the context of everything else that happened.
Man, I am really curious about this movie because as a movie on its own, I guarantee you it cannot stand alone. Like it is
Oh, you
completely
need context.
Yeah, you completely need all the other movies in order for this to make sense.
That's
and I
not the
feel
first
like
time this has happened in the
Wait,
MCU, right?
this is
you
the first
think-
time I think this
Absolutely.
has ever happened in the history of film.
Like you.
This has not happened before.
Yeah,
No
I
one
mean-
has ever done this.
No, look at any like Star Wars or anything like that. Some of them better than others, but every one of them can stand on their own without the
Exactly.
context of the other ones.
Correct, yes.
This one is going to have very quick intros of, hey, Guardians meet Avengers, done, cool. Why are we fighting this guy? You already know why we're fighting this guy. Go. Like it's going to
Yeah.
be that kind of pacing. Again, because of how gigantic the cast is.
Yeah.
Like you don't get an
So the
explanation.
exposition is like part of the one-liners.
Oh yeah,
pretty
so much of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, think about it. Think about the Avengers movies in order of Avengersness. So the first Avengers movie can stand alone on its own
Yep.
for the most part. Everything is pretty easily explainable. There are certain things that are like, don't make sense. Then you have Age of Ultron, which makes even less sense. And I feel like out of all the out of the movies we've seen so far, is the least cohesive, and you need the most backstory in order for that to make sense.
Yeah.
Then you have Civil War, which I think they did a
Table
good
is shedding
job.
on me. I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
Yes,
we got to
yes,
paint
it
it.
sheds.
Then there's Civil War, which I would argue requires basically is built heavily on the things that have happened in the past.
Right, but they do a great job of referencing those, like seeing the sit down where they get the Sokovia Accords
Yeah,
told to
totally.
them.
Yeah.
They actually give you a ton of context there, where it's like it's almost like reading a Marvel event book,
Yeah.
where you could read the 7 issues of Civil War 2 and you have a pretty damn good idea of what's going on. Like, when it's like Rhodey gets killed by Thanos in this battle, you see a 2-page spread that explains that. You don't actually need to go back and read that free comic book day issue to get that full
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. I think no matter what, I don't think it's likely that it won't be awesome. Like, it's going to be incredibly awesome. Will it be able to stand on its own? Will it be cohesive? What characters are going to get the most screen time? I have no idea. And they've been building up to this for, 10 years almost? So I am incredibly excited to see how.
2008, so yeah.
Well, they filmed Iron Man in 2007, right?
Right, but
it released in 2008.
Yeah.
So pretty much 10 years they've been in development of this moment. This is the culmination of everything we've been working toward, and it's like I'm excited to see how they do it.
And that's what Feige says in that
Yeah.
that video, where it's like, yeah, we've literally been working on this for a decade, and we knew at the start that
Yeah.
if it was successful, this is where it was going to go, and that's pretty unprecedented.
Yeah.
Because Lucas, I'm sure, knew certain things that he wanted to happen with the Star Wars saga and such, but the planning wasn't always there. That's why you see things in Star Wars between New Hope and then Jedi that actually contradict
lot
each
of
other in certain
retconning.
ways.
Yeah.
Marvel hasn't had to do the retcon because they've been very specific and clever with the things that they're doing.
Yeah.
Like every now and then, it's usually like stuff with S.H.I.E.L.D. or stuff with the Netflix series. That's where you start to see a little bit of conflict.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like look at any of the Marvel Cinematic movies specifically. I challenge people to find 10 contradictions in total between those.
The way that Hal
There
explained...
you go, guys. You've been challenged. 10 contradictions in the MCU. Find them. Leave them in the comments below. I actually want to see if anybody can find them.
Yep.
The way that Hal explained the MCU, or the way that they planned out the MCU, is that at the start, so they have on a board every movie laid out on cards, and then at the beginning of this movie, they need to start with this and somehow get to this point, point B, and then so that they could set up all the other movies, and everything is just filled in between.
Yeah,
By
the directors just fill in
directors and
whatever they
writers.
want.
So
That
yeah,
But
never seen
I still want to know what happened in Budapest between Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch.
I think we all do, and I don't think we'll ever find out.
No. It's never going to get made.
and
in.
if they do a Black Widow movie.
Yeah, we'll see if that ever happens.
But it'd be
they haven't even
interesting-
done a freaking Captain Marvel movie.
But it would be interesting because for that one, they would have to do a flashback, and they've never done a flashback story.
That would be interesting. I'd like to see that. That would be cool.
Yeah, because there was the flashback of Black Widow, like in
No,
the...
but I mean, Budapest itself
Yeah.
should be its own story, is my point.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
For them to make the references to it like they have, it deserves its own story, and I don't think they would give it that kind of time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair enough.
Final
Spin-off
thoughts?
comic.
Final
Oh
thoughts?
no! I mean, I'm stoked for it, man. I'm really excited to see this film. I just want to mostly for the writing and the actors being able to push forward that dialogue just together. Obviously, the action's going to be incredible. We already know that, right? But for me, we already talked about the concept art. I'm really excited to see what Thanos is going to look like and what his minions are going to look like. But I'm really, really, really specifically excited about how these actors are going to play off of each other in front of camera. That's what I'm
Yeah,
really
that
excited
is exciting.
about, and how they're going to
So
integrate
many
that dialogue.
actors.
Yeah.
And
That is
like
gonna-
like Chris Pratt, I'm so happy for him as an actor because he's done so well for himself, and he's gotten to a point as an actor now where he has so much wiggle room. He literally can go any direction that he wants in front of camera, and it more than likely with someone like Robert Downey Jr. or someone like freaking Chris Evans, that is going to be comedic gold. on
Paul
camera.
Rudd.
Or
Can you
Paul Rudd.
imagine Drax interacting with characters like
That,
Iron Man?
No, that was
and-
literally my prediction, was a Drax prediction.
Yeah.
I want to see when Drax and Spider-Man meet, and Drax is told that this is Spider-Man, and Drax is incredibly confused because he doesn't see 8 legs.
And he's also like, he thinks he's so weak. Like, he probably thinks Superman is such a weakling because he's like a little
Superman
child.
is a weekling.
What?
You just said Superman.
Spider-Man, my bad.
Young warrior, you don't even have your other 4 legs. It's gonna happen.
Oh man.
And if
Oh,
it
God,
does, and if
that's
it
so funny
and if
just
it,
thinking about
if it
that.
does, I'm gonna just be like, I'm gonna reference this podcast and just be like,
Called it.
it.
Final thoughts?
I'm excited to see what kind of world records this breaks in the box
yeah.
office.
Most
So,
expensive film is the first one.
yeah.
More than 400 and something
This will
thousand?
Definitely
Million, you mean?
a
Yeah,
spectacle.
400 something million.
Just off of the crew and cast alone. Yeah.
The cameras.
Yeah. By the way, for like Civil War, they had up because when you're shooting on set, the first camera that you use is camera A. They do it by letters. On the set of Civil War, at any given time, you can find camera H
Jesus.
or camera I or J.
What?
Wow.
Yeah,
What?
that's
Wow,
a
so
What
lot.
kind of camera?
The
You know?
Alexa,
Of
Area
course he
Alexa,
knows.
Yeah.
which is like
Did you think he wasn't gonna know?
fully packaged. It's $100,000 each.
It's nothing.
They had that many. What?
They have the money.
Oh, for sure, they have the money.
Yeah,
Can-
they've got the
please,
money.
gratuitous,
Can you
don't you
give us
think?
some? Can I have some more, please?
No final thoughts?
Final thoughts? Final thoughts. I think the events of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Thor Ragnarok and I guess Black Panther, but mainly those two movies are going to lead into Infinity War. And I think Infinity War is going to be treated like a war movie where the story will develop as the action is happening.
Yeah.
Seems likely.
Wait,
Something
so
like that. That's what I think.
And piggybacking off of that, do you think, because all the movies have been chronological order, right?
Yes.
So it's not like if Guardians 2 is happening, as that's happening, Thor Ragnarok is happening.
That is possible that could be happening.
It is possible.
Yes.
They have not done it yet, but everything has always been the events of this are happening after the events of this. The
Yeah.
only exception being the time jump with Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Because it's been debated what the event that he's being told about in his car is from another event that happened.
Well, they mention Stephen Strange.
Wait, no, I missed something. What were we?
So when Doctor Strange or Stephen Strange is driving, they're talking about the army incident that happens with the guy having a severed spine and stuff like that.
Right.
That is taking place at is it supposedly Iron Man 2? I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
that is a reference to something else, and that reference is debated.
So Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange in Winter Soldier, because they say that there's like they talk about enhanced people or like special people that they need to keep their eyes on, and they mention Stephen Strange in Winter Soldier, which means that the events of Doctor Strange must have happened prior to Winter Soldier, or
During.
during, or like he was known to have abilities
Right.
post during or a bit prior to Winter Soldier. So Hal actually showed me a movie where it's the entire MCU, the entire like phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 cut into chronological order. And you actually see that the movies are, if you cut into chronological order, they are completely like intertwining with one another. Like they are not like, because my understanding was that it is this movie takes place, then this movie takes place, then this movie, then this movie, then this
Right.
movie. But it's not like that. It's literally like during
They're stacked on top of each other.
Exactly.
Basically. They overlap a bit.
Exactly. So like during Thor 2, and this is an example. I don't know if this is for sure. I forgot. But like during Thor 2, like Iron Man 2 is taking place at the same
Right.
time. Like two movies with two different characters are taking place at the same time. These characters are doing different things.
Yeah.
Which is why they're not interacting.
Well, I imagine, like, back to that point, if Guardians is taking place at the same time that Thor Ragnarok is, it will kind of make sense because Guardians is in another solar system, in another galaxy right now, and the events of Ragnarok started in Civil War.
Yep.
So I imagine Ragnarok would take place right after Civil War.
and that's where this does all come from comic books, and it's the same argument of like, what is true comic book continuity?
Yeah.
Because you see Wolverine appear in 7 books, which
Yeah.
has now become Deadpool appearing in 7 books. How does it all happen at the same time?
Yeah.
And that's, as viewers, just part of our suspension of disbelief that we have to have of when does
Okay.
it happen. And there's never going to be a clean calendar of, if you put the Marvel MCU into actual calendar dates,
Yeah.
when does all of this happen exactly?
Dude, what
There's-
if like all the movies starting from Guardians 2, the way those movies end leading up to Infinity War, it ends with them culminating to the beginning of Infinity War movie. You
Like,
know, you know what I'm
all
talking
leads
about?
directly.
like it's
Yeah.
like maybe you don't even see the interaction, but it's the arrival at the spot.
Yeah.
And you see the
So-
stinger at the end is the arrival of one team, and then the arrival
Exactly.
of another.
So
or
like at
something
the end
that.
of Guardians 2, we know that they're going to land on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So if they land on Earth, the first thing that they see is like Thor there. And then the events of Thor Ragnarok happen, and that movie ends with Thor coming back to Earth.
And seeing
at
the
that
Guardians.
Yeah.
that would be a great way for those moments to
Oh my God, that's great.
to tie in.
to tie in. What if, and let me throw this out there, what if Infinity War isn't what we think it is? What if Infinity War doesn't start with Thanos, it ends with
Well,
Thanos?
here's the thing.
Like Infinity War starts when Thanos arrives, which is at the end of the movie, which the entire second movie, which comes out 2 years after.
1 year.
1 year after.
Exactly 1 year.
Exactly
Thank
1
you,
year
Kevin.
after is is Thanos versus everyone.
Welcome to
like
Vegas.
Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 kind of thing.
Totally,
Where,
like
Yeah.
like the entire
Oh
first.
my
film,
God.
The entire first film is just
That totally just clicked for me now.
yeah.
Like Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
Thank you for that example. That's really good.
the entire 1st
I've not
movie is
watched
just
It's just
Deathly
set up.
Hallows.
It's just a
never
setup.
saw Lord of the Rings?
What? Oh, the illusion.
Also, you just said Lord of the
I know.
Rings.
I did that on purpose.
Okay.
But yeah, the entire first movie is just a setup. Is everybody meeting each other? Like action still happening. Like maybe you have parademons. I mean Chitauri coming down and attacking the Avengers.
Chitauri don't have shitty wings.
What
They
is
have
that
just,
supposed to
they
mean?
just have
Like, who
shitty
cares,
faces.
dude?
Oh, they have.
Names.
Just their face.
Yeah, their faces are terrible. I'll agree on that.
The war continues.
Oh God.
HawkTalk Civil War right now. No, but seriously, like, and then the second movie is now
battle.
the arrival of Thanos. Like at the end of every Christopher Nolan movie, the movie isn't actually like. They never say the title of the movie at the beginning of any Christopher Nolan movie. They say the title at the end of the movie because that's when that moment clicks. Like Batman doesn't become the Dark Knight until the end of the Dark Knight,
Yeah.
and that's when the title hits. So like that's when Infinity War hits. Is boom when Thanos arrives. Everybody's like, you have this team building happening. The whole first movie, everybody's getting to know each other. Things are happening. There's building that camaraderie, and then it ends with a big death when Thanos gets there.
Yeah.
like
Tony
what a
Stark.
what a
Yeah.
smack in the face
Stark
that
But
would
then
Thor
how
Cap.
do you start the next movie then? Do you
You
start
just
right at
literally
you
the
just
second.
start it
The second after.
right there.
It's
Holy
like Deathly
crap.
Hallows. Like we walked into Voldemort doing his weird hand movements, and you see the blocks moving, and him getting the wand,
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
the Elder Wand.
Once it, no, but
What
no,
did
the
you just say
difference
to me? Shut
between
up.
Deathly Hallows though is that at the end of part 1 of Deathly Hallows, Voldemort gets the Elder Wand, but then he's not there already fighting at Hogwarts. You know,
No,
because
Yeah,
then if you
'cause
start
Dobby-
part
maybe
2,
maybe the second one he finally has all the Infinity Stones, and he has the gauntlet.
yeah,
Maybe
that
he
makes more
comes
sense.
down, kills some fools.
Vision.
Pulls the stone out of Vision's head. Says, "I have all the gauntlets now."
Oh
all
yeah,
the
I
stones
forgot
now.
that needs to happen. For the gauntlet to be complete, it has to be ripped from Vision's freaking head.
Dude,
Yeah.
can you imagine
Your
that
boy
visually
needs to be
just
ex-
straight up pulls it
Okay,
right
so I
out.
think we know what the death that has to happen.
Another character that we only spent one half of a movie knowing.
Sadly.
Great,
It's-
thank
It's
you.
fine. We already got
No,
his
it was
sweater
like,
scene.
It was like
Oh, that was a great
it was
scene.
two halves.
Civil
It's like
War.
a half and
I
a
wouldn't
quarter.
say Civil War was like
Half and a
an
quarter.
eighth.
But yeah, like what if he came down to Earth?
I'm sorry, I'm
he
not good at
got
fractions.
he got all the Infinity
Math
Stones,
fractions.
ripped the stone out of Vision's head, and then says, put it on his gauntlet and says, "Deuces," dips out, and then that's when
and then the rest of the Avengers shows up and it's like, oh shit,
yeah, find Vision
about to
dead,
go
and
down.
now they're like, all right,
Avengers
it's
assemble.
on. And then so then you could have a few months later Infinity War Part 2 or
Yeah.
whatever the second film
dude,
that is
it,
gonna be
it
tied
ends with
in.
them actually saying Avengers assemble, please.
Oh man.
Ant-Man,
yeah.
Ant-Man and
No.
Captain Marvel are before the next Avengers movie. Like in between the Avengers movies is
Ooh.
Ant-Man and Captain Marvel.
Interesting.
Huh.
Any final thoughts from you?
Final
John?
thoughts.
Final
I have-
thoughts
I
so we
have
can
a
move on to
question.
the Iron Fist trailer.
What's your inquiry?
What do you think Captain Marvel's role is going to be in Infinity War?
A tank.
I think if Cap dies, she'll take lead.
I don't know. about
Well, I mean,
that.
at least we know she's a good actress. You know,
I
she
hate-
has the
I-
chops.
My problem is right now as a character, they need to divert her so much off of the comic book version of her because I despise her in the comic book.
Oh wow.
Hal was saying the same thing after.
So,
Infinity- or-
like, if you look at the first Civil War comic series,
Yeah.
you saw valid points from Captain America and Iron Man sides
right.
in the comics.
Yeah.
In the second one, she's close to becoming like a fascist dictator in a lot of ways.
I remember
So
that.
I hate her right now. So they have to either change the character, which I feel like there's not enough time to change it in the comics right now, or just have it be the Carol Danvers who popped up in the Guardians comics and just totally be far away from where she is right now. Because right now, if that's the character,
Yeah,
she
well,
can
I
piss
think they
off.
can definitely do that because
Yeah.
if they're just keeping her personality and basically her essence and not the plot points of what she's doing, they can mold it to whatever they need her to be in the movie.
Totally. Everyone
Right.
hated Tony Stark during the first Civil War, and he was still justified in his actions, and people hated him in the comics. But that's when Iron Man, the movie, came out, and everybody freaking loved Iron Man. Still loves Iron Man to
Right.
this day. He's probably the most popular character in the MCU right now.
Well, I think we also have to take into effect, like, look at the numbers on comics and the amount of people that are reading comics versus the amount of people that are going to a movie.
Not even
like,
the same.
Like, a successful comic right now is doing 25,000 issues. That's a drop in the bucket by comparison to movie numbers.
Yeah.
And I remember, what was it, in like the 90s during like the big comic book boom and everything
Yeah.
like that? If you had a comic that was doing 25,000 units shipped, that was a failing comic and you were getting canceled.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how drastic
Times
everything
are
changed
changing.
between the 90s to today.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of sad.
Speaking of comics that failed in the 90s, transition to Iron Fist.
Yes. Yes. I never read the Iron Fist comic. I actually wasn't familiar with Iron Fist really until recently.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I wasn't familiar with him until Ultimate Alliance. I saw him in the game. I was like, okay, who is this dude? Then I looked him up. I'm like, oh, he's kind of cool sounding.
I remember I always felt like his costume felt a little bit too loud.
I wasn't a fan of his costume, and I wasn't. There were
Like
things
the
that.
crazy
Yeah.
yellow collar.
I didn't really become a
right on my chest, you know?
I didn't become
The
a fan of the
Duvet.
costume until
hello,
they switched it
Liberace.
to the new Avengers version, where because it wasn't like that deep V, but like the white on
Yeah.
top of with the gold
Yeah, yeah,
highlights
totally.
and accents, where there was no deep V. Like you'd only see it if his costume was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And the symbol was on top of the costume. Like that was when it started to be like, okay, I can accept this.
I've seen versions of him where he actually looks like it looks like he's wearing martial arts garb.
Yep.
And not like a silly spandex outfit, and
Yeah.
That's the one I
those
like.
those
Yeah.
versions, like the green is deeper
The
and the
green,
yellow
yeah.
is more muted and a little bit grittier, and like that version of his costume looks amazing.
That was an ultimate version of it too, I think, where they did that when he was appearing in like Ultimate Spider-Man and stuff like that, where his costume didn't seem so silly. He still
Some
had
of the Ultimate
he
costumes
still-
are just so much better.
He still had a deep V, and you saw the tattoo and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
like the colors and stuff weren't so ostentatious and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
totally over the top.
Yeah.
They weren't so Austin, Texas. Yeah.
So, what did everybody think about the Iron Fist trailer for Netflix?
It also wasn't Austin, Texas.
Thank you, John.
I thought it was great, Danny.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. So you guys ruined John. That didn't take long at all. We're only 40 minutes in. You already broke our manager. Awesome.
I have
So-
corrupted him.
I really enjoyed the antagonist, the actor who's playing the antagonist. I forgot his name, which I will find out in just a moment.
Faramir.
Yeah, Faramir. Yeah, he played Faramir. He also was in my
300.
my favorite role. I liked him in 300. My favorite role from him is Van Helsing. I loved his character in Van Helsing. He was the
Who was he in Van Helsing?
he was the supporting role. He was the comedic. He was the comedic guy.
I remember,
the
yeah.
friar, and he was
The
basically
friar.
Van Helsing's like his go-to guy.
Yeah.
his oracle that like made all of his weapons. He was really funny.
He's a rakel.
yeah. What?
What the?
That's not cool.
Nope.
Shut up, Noel.
You got it, bro.
Hey, you said that before I did.
Shut up, Noel.
I actually like also the inclusion of the old woman from Daredevil. I think.
Yes,
I
Yang.
think. Yeah, I think she's going to be really interesting because of all of the different crime families and crime bosses, she was the most interesting to me because everybody else was very much playing like, what is the New York crime stereotype? And, you know, her connections to the old country and everything like that, there was something different there.
Yeah.
And I like that.
She seems kind of heartless there. A little
Yeah,
cold.
very much so.
Very cold.
She's one of my favorite villains in the Marvel
Yep. it's
universe,
cinematic.
just because there's so much mystery behind her, and you're like, she's up to some shit, you guys. Like she's gonna pull something,
Dude, I remember the moment where I was like, all right, was when she just like pushed Daredevil back, and he like flew back, and you're
Yeah.
just like, whoa,
I was like-
okay. There's more to her than meets the
yeah,
eye.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
That's an
She's
old
a transformer.
lady.
Yeah.
That old lady just he got pushed and he like slid. He was like, what the hell was that?
Then she disappeared, and I was just like, man, he would have got effed up right there.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing is like, all due respect to the character of Daredevil, he is a person with extraordinary abilities, but he does not have enhanced abilities.
Right.
Whether it's coming from technology or science or magic, like we know that the definition of magic is hazy within Marvel. this is two magic-based characters against each other.
Well, isn't magic in the Marvel universe kind of like science in our universe?
It's fancy science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fancy science.
Yeah.
So
Just like Thor is an alien.
right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I dig it.
I mean, that's just confusing, you know.
Yeah.
Well, because like they've said that he's a god, but he's also an alien.
Well, no,
But they said the same thing about
He's a
Superman.
god to us.
No, he's
Right.
him and his people say they're gods.
Look, I'm not saying that that's not confusing in the DC universe
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
You're just
Yeah,
saying
It's
it's just an
confusing
overall
in
confusing
general.
So
thing.
God
That's
in
just-
the metaphorical
no,
sense?
there are new gods and old gods.
Whatever. So
7 hells.
7 hells.
That I actually
Bless
believe
the
in.
7.
I'm on the second one right now.
Bless the 9.
James Heffel on Patreon actually weighed in on the argument. He said the Iron Fist trailer looks so awesome.
Dap.
He said he's glad that they're showing that Danny Rand will be funny in the show because the first trailer didn't really give that impression.
it's kind of dark. I
so-
agree.
Also, all the characters are pretty broody. at the
Yeah.
moment.
Agreed.
They need hugs.
In the
I mean, they're trailers,
shows.
so they could
Yeah.
be cut any way.
Yeah, I mean, you
To
could
make
have
it
told me
seem
that
funny or-
Suicide Squad was going to be funny, and we all know how that turned out.
True facts of the wild.
another jab from
funny-
John Carl.
funny
Thank
in
you.
a different
Clapbacks.
sense.
Funny in a different sense. Yes, you're right.
It's
So-
funny that it got made.
There's a really cool shot at the back
Your
end
DC
of Iron
fans are
Fist.
gonna hate me.
That punch.
Where you see I don't even know. You see the Iron Fist, I suppose.
Yeah,
Is
the
what
power
you
of the
would
Iron
call it.
Fist.
The power.
The chi.
The chi? Is that what it is?
Yeah, his power is focused on chi.
Nice.
At least according to the comics.
I really liked the way that they made it look like it was forming inside of his
It was like
actual
underneath
hand.
his blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was like some power
Yeah.
within.
I
know
liked,
what that
I liked
reminds
it
me
being
of?
within rather than the comic book version. Is it always looks like a fireball is building around his fist? I like
Yeah.
it being internalized.
It's like energy.
That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of what do you call that? Iron Man 3.
The Extremis.
Yes,
Yeah.
the extremist.
yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah,
you
it
just
is-
you just
it's-
ruined Iron Fist.
Just
It's all
ruined Iron
extremis
Fist.
power.
Oh
Yeah.
god, dude! If it is, I will be so mad.
That would be.
I will be, dude.
Like it's
if-
somehow related.
Hold on, I want to hear this.
No, I'm just gonna be mad. I just don't want them to fucking do that. That's it.
Damn, that got a reaction.
Yeah, dude, I haven't seen you react like that to something in a while.
I love putting together bad theories to piss you off now.
Oh man,
That's
that,
like-
I'm just gonna tweet them at you constantly.
Yeah, just piss me off all the time, John.
you know what's interesting though about the Iron Fist trailer is like I didn't see any really impressive martial arts in there.
I was just about to say that.
Same.
I was gonna say that I really hope that
But
they
I'm-
do martial arts stunts justice in this.
I'm
series.
happy that we didn't see that
Yeah,
though, because
save
I
it.
want that to be a surprise.
Well, that's what they did with their
showed
Daredevil
that,
too.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil's the same exact way. Like for me, that was one of the reasons why you guys had to kind of like talk me into watching Daredevil because like when I was watching the trailer, I was like,
I see no reason
Daredevil is supposed to be like really badass, and I'm not seeing any of this in the trailer. So it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it took precedence over any of these other shows.
Sure.
But you guys were like, dude, go watch that damn episode 2. It gets nuts.
And you were like-
Knuck and futz,
and you were
dude.
like,
It
dang.
gets knuck and futz.
That one take where he's in the freaking hallway and you're just like, what?
Yeah, man.
What?
And then, despite the fact that it was almost copycatted into season 2, the stairwell fight
That
scene,
stairwell fight
yet
was
again,
dope.
and I think it's kind of like blowing your wad too early if you put that into the trailer because you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Jessica and Luke took different routes because their characters are powered differently and
Right,
stuff
of
like
course.
that.
Yeah.
So these guys, you know, it needs to have that kind of a fight scene happening, and I'd rather not see any of that stuff, especially
Yeah.
you know, you can only see so much of these 13 episodes in advance before it's just like, cool, I have to start cutting myself off from the trailers
Yeah.
before it just kills it for me.
Yeah, totally.
I
So-
also want to
yeah.
put in like while we're on the kind of I guess like feedback section of this opinion, I guess. So I was talking to the guys about this earlier in like from what I've seen from Ultimate Alliance and like from other cosplayers and like concept art, like when I went on Google and was like just Googled Iron Fist, he's supposed to be kind of in like a superhero shape, like the way that his body looks, in the sense of like he's just kind of a buff guy. So for me, it was like I really would like to see this actor really dive. Maybe not this episode, maybe not this season specifically, because I'd like to see that growth happen
As he transitions into Defenders and stuff.
Exactly.
You
So
wanna see more
I
impressive.
would like to see him kind of
The
take
superhero
intimidating.
team that has no part to play in Infinity War. Right. Just hilarious to me.
I would like to see him get into like Bruce Lee shape. Now, obviously, it took Bruce Lee years to do that, but I would like to see him get really close to that. I mean, because that's
Maybe
when
we
you-
just haven't seen it yet.
Of course, yeah, that's
him.
what I mean. Like, I would just like to see that happen.
He also can now get out of his Lawrence Tyrell shape. He doesn't need to maintain that anymore.
Exactly.
So
True.
yeah.
Yeah, he probably
Spoiler
went.
alert for
I-
Game of Thrones.
I didn't spoil anything. I
Yeah,
just
man.
says he doesn't have to stay in that shape. Maybe the character gets in better shape, Jeremy.
Yeah. Maybe he just stops drinking beer.
Yeah.
Well, given
Big.
the actually knowing that when they were actually shooting shooting Iron Fist, they must have just come off of Game of Thrones, so he probably didn't have time.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah,
To-
I don't. This is not a jab in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form.
No, no.
Are you
yeah,
saying
after-
he's in bad shape, Tony?
No, no.
It's
Are
like
you are you
Christian
saying
Bale.
he's a lean dude.
Yeah, he's already lean. I'm not saying that he's not lean. I would just like to
Yeah.
see him get in superhero shape.
Yeah.
That's what I would
It's
like
like
to see.
Christian Bale going from The Machinist to Batman
Exactly.
Begins.
Yeah, he was jacked.
Give him
in
some
Batman
time.
Begins, dude.
Defenders comes. I would like to see him get a little jacked. That would be kind of cool to watch. Because you look at like Charlie Cox as Daredevil.
Wait, is The Defenders coming out after season 2 of Jessica Jones and
No.
3 of Daredevil?
no?
Defenders is like season 2 or 3 to all these shows a little bit. It's actually like basically it's replacing a season of I think Daredevil and Jessica Jones, right?
So they haven't announced the
haven't
next
an-
season of Daredevil.
Correct. We
Yeah.
know. We all know it's coming from the way that it ended, but
Yeah.
they haven't announced it formally.
But they have announced
Or at least a
Jessica
date.
Jones and Luke Cage
And Punisher.
and Punisher.
But Defenders is
Defenders comes after Iron
it's-
Fist.
It's Iron Fist and then Defenders. Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
No,
Right.
so it's going to take
Right,
the
Fred?
place.
Right?
So,
Yeah, I'm
And
pretty
then it's going
sure.
to be Daredevil too.
so
Fred
it's gonna,
never
so
wants me
it's
on
gonna
set
take the
again.
place of Daredevil 2.
3.
Kind of.
Three, sorry.
I'm sorry. So it's going to go Defenders
It'll be Iron Fist, Defenders, and then I imagine Daredevil 3.
3.
Or Jessica.
Or Punisher.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
Punisher, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like
We don't
they have
know.
such a tight turnover on those things that
Or-
they're able to not announce it yet.
Yeah, Punisher seems like the one that would make the most sense to come after Defenders because Defenders is basically a sequel to every show we've
Yep.
seen so far. Punisher is the one where it's like, all right, now we can give a little breathing room for that, figure out what the next step is while we execute Punisher.
Snoop.
So do we think in the way that this is going to play out that Jessica Jones season 2 is going to be more about the relationship with her and Luke because that was basically blown off in
Right.
all the stuff with Luke Cage. And I mean, it may sound like blasphemy of any of the stuff that I've seen so far. The one I'm least excited about the second season of is Luke Cage because I felt like the first season got drawn out too long.
For Luke Cage?
Yeah, I felt like that season should have been 10 episodes, but they had to stick to the format.
Yeah.
And that's why you ended up having like a
14?
kind of crappy villain at the end.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
And I can see that as too. As
I
well.
totally
Interesting.
thought Cottonmouth was going to be the villain for the entire.
I thought
too.
Cottonmouth
Season
was
1.
going to get super powered. Because there was no need to eliminate him as a more interesting character other than to do the brother story with Diamondback, and I thought that one felt really, really flat. Like, that didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
It didn't land for me,
Me
man.
neither.
Diamondback didn't.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I didn't like.
I didn't
did-
believe
Dude, the
it. They didn't
build up
set
for
it-
Diamondback was perfect.
Yeah.
Though. Like they made him seem like such a threat.
No, he should have been a reveal at the end when Cottonmouth ended up failing at the end.
Yeah.
But not the super suit and stuff like that. Like that felt like a cheap knockoff Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And also, of all the fight scenes of any of the Netflix ones, the fight between Luke and Diamondback was the most disappointing to me.
Agreed.
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 That was-
His
yeah.
intro when he shoots him and that whole thing, that how it drawn out, I was like, that was not how I wanted
That
that
was
to happen.
anticlimactic.
That was super anticlimactic. Like you're not going to see this person running around in Harlem with like a big ass sniper rifle.
Yeah.
No one's going to see that. False. We were in Harlem.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what time of the night. Someone's going to see you with a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
That'll be noticed.
I mean, at least that.
It's
Like,
a big gun, guys.
It's a big gun.
really big gun.
It just shot Luke Cage and blew up in his insides. We're gonna hear that, okay? So I don't know. I would just like to. I wanted that to be a little bit different. I wanted it to be kind of more of like an epic intro.
Yep.
Like they were getting like Diamondback, whisper. Then you see him, and it's like he's just some dude in a hoodie and jeans.
My problem is they didn't do what they could have done. Because, spoiler alert for Dexter, if you've seen Dexter, they did the similar storyline where
Yes.
it's
With the brother.
Yeah, it's his brother.
Yeah, it was he was the icebox killer.
Yeah, and that was like an
He
amazing.
kills ice boxes?
That was an amazing
you.
setup and payoff, right?
So much.
And they
No,
didn't-
that was the solidifying season for Dexter.
Yeah, it was
like,
great.
That's one of those.
Tell him.
So-
Wait, his status was solidify.
So anyway, the thing that made Luke Cage's thing like not really sell was they just didn't set up the fact that he had a brother. Like if they just set that up early that he has a brother, he didn't even mention it until like the last 3 episodes, and you're just like,
Wait,
wait, that's his brother? Or no, he's not just calling him brother. Like, what up, brother? He's like, no, this is actually my brother. What?
brother from another mother.
Yeah, it didn't land for me.
I feel like they were trying to make it a big twist, but it
it fell
didn't.
flat.
It did not, M. Night.
Because that's oh.
Yeah.
What a twist.
What
For
a
me,
twist.
I feel like if they would have so what they did in Dexter to give some kind of like preface to that was what they would have flashback shots of Dexter. Obviously, spoiler alert. He's a child. He's inside this crate where like I think it was like the cartel that killed his mother that he witnessed, and what they did is they used that same exact footage. And they would say no, and then it was a bit of a twist because what they did is they took that footage and they actually unfocused out, like panned out. They pulled out,
dollied out,
and you see the brother next to him, and he's like, "No, I'm your brother. I was there with you, and you regressed it." And then you're like, "Oh shit!" So you show rather than tell,
Yeah.
or you show and tell.
Yeah.
If they would have done something
They
like that,
showed and then they told.
and then they told. If they would have done that, that would have been a completely different reaction.
Yeah.
At
Dude,
least for
if
me.
they had
Also
incorporated-
again,
yeah.
sucky character too. That's the other biggest piece is like
There was no setup.
Even if all of the character, or even if the setup had been done right, the outcome still sucked. So it doesn't matter how good the intro is if the end result character is still garbage.
I disagree.
but
I disagree to a certain extent.
with setup, that thing that ended up being sucky lands a little bit better and makes the
Yeah.
entire experience better. So
and also
because
with the setup,
Yeah.
you would have a better idea of how to do the payoff
Yeah.
at
Right.
the end.
Not crappy super suit.
Yeah.
we gotta move, if we want to get to the last topic, we gotta move on
Yeah.
from this one right now.
Final thoughts on Iron Fist?
Final thoughts on Iron Fist. I
Love
think
it.
it looks awesome. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Looks fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
looks good.
I've literally booked out my calendar for March 17th too.
Just to like
Yeah.
So
blast
soon.
through the
Yeah,
whole
like
thing.
I get back from Japan that Monday,
Yeah.
and
Lucky
then
son of a gun.
because if that was happening while I was in Japan, I was going to be pissed.
So last topic of the day, not much that we really need to say about it, so it's cool that we can kind of put a bow on the show for this. With this, Matt Reeves is currently in talks to be the director for the Batman. Now, from what I understand from the article that I read, it said that he has committed to the project, but he is still in talks about the details. So it's not like set in stone, but it is, if all goes well, this is
Yeah.
it. It's not a rumor. It is he verbally said he committed according to the article I read from Variety.
Okay.
So
So is he stepping onto the project as just a director to continue what Ben Affleck has been doing, or is it like starting fresh?
From what I understand, they hired someone to write a new script
Wow.
It's intense.
No.
or to work on the script and like redo it.
Well,
What?
who? Because if
I'm not sure.
I have faith in Matt Reeves, which by the way, he did Cloverfield and
War
Dawn of the
Apes.
Planet of the Apes and now War of the Planet
yes,
of the
which if you guys noticed the last episode, I went on a whole tangent about how much I love those movies and how good they are, like story wise and everything. It's just, yeah, okay, I'm done.
I love Cloverfield. And then if you hated Cloverfield, take yourself out of it, take a step back, and then think about if the movie, because a lot of people are like, I hated that movie because it made me dizzy. All right, well, just take it the way that it was shot out of the
context.
equation.
Look,
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
it from how the story was told.
Yeah,
Exactly.
look at the structure.
And then ask yourself, is it a good movie or is it a bad movie? Did you not like it because of the way it was shot? Or do you actually not like the story? Because
Yeah.
Cloverfield 1 is one of my favorite movies. I freaking love Cloverfield 1.
You know,
I love it.
Cloverfield is actually like one of those movies that like is heartbreaking for me because I enjoyed that story so much. That was the most realistic invasion monster sci-fi film
Yeah.
I'd ever seen. I remember people walking out of that film. It was silent.
Yep.
Nobody could say anything. They were like,
Just all quiet.
they did like the Michael Cera like what? Like, just like
What?
no one could say anything because
Yeah.
it was just so
I
realistic.
did not expect that.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, that movie hella happened to me right now.
Yeah, and it was incredible, but I got like vertigo. I was so sick to my stomach because I get really bad motion sickness.
Yeah.
But I was also like 6 rows back.
That
so
sucks.
I was like right in front of this IMAX.
Not a
I
good-
watched it in like wide format, and I was just like, no.
No. No, Cloverfield was one of those movies where I think if you factor out what you're saying from the way it was shot from a motion perspective, and then my big, and this isn't a complaint, this is just something that I think happened, is it was the first time we were seeing a new version of a kaiju, essentially.
Sure.
And I think everybody had the expectation that this was going to be our generation's Godzilla.
Right.
But when you look at a Godzilla movie, the story is about Godzilla.
Yeah.
And there are people that are periphery to it, but the focus is always on Godzilla. This was the survivor story.
Totally.
And the only thing, if, hindsight, being what it is, if I could have given a suggestion to it, I would have rather have never seen the full monster. If you hadn't showed me the design of that monster, I think it would have been, if I had to say, like, right now I'd give it an 8 out of 10, that would have made it a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
I
like
just,
Jaws.
Without seeing the
I just
monster?
did not like I didn't like seeing him. I didn't think you needed it. Similar to 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't like the reveal of what the aliens or whatever are at the end. I think if you just see the story of the people developing around it, that's so much more interesting. I mean, even M. Night Shyamalan, for whatever you want to say about him, look at Signs. Signs is a good movie until you get the reveal in the living room.
Signs has so many plot holes, it is unbelievable. Like, I can probably count on 2 hands how many plot holes I found in that movie. And, like, I'm not even that guy. Like, I could suspend my disbelief pretty gosh darn easily.
Yeah.
I liked Suicide Squad the first time I watched it.
We know.
Like I can get involved in a movie, but Signs, I'm just like, no, hold on, but what? But no, but why? But what?
Also, I agreed. Dumbest aliens ever that they decided
Stupid.
They decide to
80% water.
Yeah, their biggest weakness. So let's just go to a planet made out of sulfuric acid when we start traveling. That's essentially what they did.
Yeah.
But up until
No armor either.
like the 75% mark, I still enjoyed it.
Wait,
and
what?
then all the dumb stuff happened.
To kind of, I guess, weigh on that. What happened again in Signs?
They were weak against water.
They're
What?
weak against water, but then no, they were weak
Wait, they're
against.
made of water? Or
No, they're just like if you throw water at them, they
It's like
melt.
acid.
So
But
they're like
here's
the
the thing.
witch, the Wicked Witch of the West.
so
Yes.
let's travel to the bluest planet they can find.
Yep.
That's not even the only plot hole. What do you mean their only weakness is water? You hit them with water and then killed it with a baseball bat. So its weakness is basically blunt force trauma. and then M. Night, because he cameoed in the movie, he said he cut one of
Cut
the
the
thing's
fingers
fingers
off.
off.
Yep.
So you cut its finger off with a knife? So why don't you just shoot it?
So
Why don't
you're
just
telling me
shoot
you
'em?
can physically damage them.
So you can physically damage it like
But-
a normal human.
But they had poison gas that came out of their wrist for some reason.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there was that, but like,
The more I hear about this, the more confused I am.
dude, I'm telling
What?
you, like,
I still enjoyed it up until
Same.
that
dude,
point.
I actually like Signs a lot, but
oh, it's
It
a
was a fun
broken
movie.
movie.
but there's like so many plot holes. It's like, did they even try to fill
Wait,
these?
who else? So it's Mel Gibson. Who else was in that?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin. It was Joaquin Phoenix. that was in
A
it.
little girl who's obsessed with water and
Abigail
leaving cups,
Breslin.
cups all over the place, and then her brother who has asthma.
Culkin. One of the
What if
Culkins.
all of his movies are
That
set
was
in
a
the
Culkin?
same universe?
The
So
M.
like
Night
Lady in the
Shyamalan
Water
cinematic
versus
universe.
Mist or Signs.
and Avatar.
Yeah, and
Last
Avatar.
Airbender.
Have you guys seen the most recent one?
Split?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
haven't yet. I hear it's really
Split.
good.
Okay,
incredible.
let's not talk about it right now then.
Okay. Darn.
Let's
Go see it.
let's dial it back to the Batman.
Yep.
So
Chris Terrio, by the way, was the new script rewriter, but I imagine they're going to be getting a new one
Whoa.
with this director.
Wait, hold up.
hold on. Chris
no,
Terrio
no,
is
no.
rewriting the Batman.
But he wrote with Ben Affleck for the first draft.
No, that was Jeff Johns. Ben and Jeff did that.
Oh,
So
so
Terrio had he had no say in this prior
so
script.
now
No.
they're bringing him on.
to
To
help.
clean it up.
Are
So-
you saying that he's rewriting the whole script, or he's just cleaning up what Ben and Jeff put down as a layout?
That isn't clear.
Okay, well, it makes sense if that would be the case because Ben and Jeff Johns will be laying out the structure of the story, and then Chris Terrio, the screenwriter, for Ben for like
Argo won Academy Award for Argo.
Yeah, so he would be the actual screenplay writer, right?
Oh wow,
I mean,
To pen
That
the screenplay
changes
from
things.
the structure that they laid down.
dude, this is starting to look real
So
good.
here, let me just read this paragraph to you. As
Okay.
this week's announcement that Ben Affleck would step down as director of a solo superhero movie, The Batman continues to reverberate through Hollywood and fandom. Sources confirmed the script, originally penned by Affleck and Jeff Johns, was rewritten by scribe Chris Terrio. But the project will undergo substantial changes and possibly / another full rewrite. Warner Brothers is already speaking to several filmmakers about taking over, who's the director's chair, including one of my personal favorites, Matt Reeves, blah, blah, blah. And the word is the project will essentially get a fresh start once the new creative team is put together.
And who wrote this?
This is Forbes.
Forbes by what author? Does it say?
Mark Hughes?
Mark Hughes. Awesome.
For not being able to read, you did an amazing job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I know some of these words.
Some of these words.
I was guessing on a lot of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, you just kind of made the sounds as it was coming out.
Right.
You know,
right.
it's I know how to speak English, so it's cool that even though I don't know how to read most words, I can kind of bridge the gap. I can kind of fill it in between.
Yeah. Honestly, that's how I am with Vietnamese. Like, I know how to speak Vietnamese. I can't read it fluently, but I know the words and I know how to speak it. So I just kind of bridge the gap in between, like, how this one looks like it sounds.
So like
and
this
stuff
is
like that.
this sentence is probably this.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So that, I mean, it's plausible that it happens.
I mean, of
Anyway.
of
Yeah.
all of the DC stuff, and you guys know where I stand on what's currently come out. I'm the most excited for Batman out of all of it because I think one of the things that has been done right was the portrayal of Batman and Bruce Wayne from Batman versus Superman.
Agreed.
I thought that was fantastic, and getting something that it feels like it's toning it down in a positive way, like it's taking everything into this smaller,
Intimate story.
more realistic scale,
Yeah.
rather than putting him against the equivalent of a god.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've always stood by this. I always thought Batman versus Superman should be the final story of the DC EU. Is that right?
I agree.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would agree. It would
I
be
agree.
better to
So for me, this is what I want to be the origin story, quote unquote. Whether or not you actually see how he becomes Batman, because you don't need to see that. We've seen that in how many movies at this point.
Yeah.
But this is the establishment of what his true power, skill set, whatever you want to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm
What
excited
his-
for that. He's also against somebody who also isn't overly powered. He's against somebody else who is, well trained in the assassins. Like
Yeah.
that's so much more exciting to me than having to overcome using technology. Like he's got to be Batman. He doesn't have to be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
That's
want
the thing is like, I hope we don't have the world is gonna explode at the end of this movie if Batman doesn't save the day. It's like, dude, can we just have an intimate story where it's just
Yeah. The world's
I
not
want
gonna end.
the
Yeah.
versus story. 100% agree.
yeah.
Do you want Joker to be in it?
No. I hate Leto as Joker.
No, but like
So you're excited
Let's-
for the new minute matchup
let's-
to see what happens.
I hate Leto as
let's
Joker.
put the I'm talking about the character. Would you want the character of the Joker to be in the Batman movie, or if Deathstroke is in it, would you want it to focus solely on the conflict between Deathstroke and Batman?
Two pieces to it. If we could wipe out that Suicide Squad existed and it was a Batman movie, I'm excited for the fact that it could be a Batman story not led by the Joker.
Right.
I like it without having him in it.
Okay, cool.
Regardless of Leto or not,
Sure.
I like it better being able to see a new story.
Yeah, because we've seen
how
the
ma-
Joker
we've
several
seen-
times.
Yeah.
Whether it's the video games, the animated series, the other film franchises, I'm excited for a different villain. In the
My
same
dad is barely familiar with any other Batman villain other than
Yeah.
the Joker. Like that's the one he's most familiar with,
Well,
and that's
that's-
only because most movies have had him as a
Right.
villain.
Well, that's why I actually liked the whole Ra's al Ghul thing
Yeah, me too.
from Begins, because it was like, oh, we're not leading off with the Joker, because leading off with the Joker is the lowest hanging fruit.
Agreed.
Yeah.
The Batman Begins is my favorite Batman movie.
Yeah.
Ever? Wow.
I hear Lego Batman is freaking awesome.
I
People are
also
saying
hear
that
that.
it is one of the best
Are you
Batman
telling me
movies.
everything is awesome?
Everything is awesome when you're part of a team.
I'm out.
Same.
Hey, you're done.
When you're living your dreams.
Okay.
All right. Well, Matt Reeves is now directing, or
That
could
I'm
be.
very excited about.
Yep.
Very excited about that.
I think that we kind of
Oh,
need to
God.
let things
Play out now.
Dude,
play out at this
wait,
point. Yeah.
Hold up! I just realized Matt Reeves is finishing up War of the Planet of the Apes. War for the Planet of the Apes. Sorry, my bad.
What if you
And
bring
then
some
he
of
goes-
that like technology and like mocap to Batman?
Dude.
Oh God.
Okay, could we
good.
just swap it out to Gorilla Grodd? I don't even care that he's not like canon focused on Batman.
And just put him in the Batman movie.
just put him there.
Dude, that would be the best looking Gorilla Grodd we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Facts.
That'd be scary. That would be terrifying.
That'd be terrifying.
That would be
Just
horrifying.
freaking extra large gorilla with. What are you doing?
Hi.
What are you doing?
Stroking out.
All right, it's time to close out on that note. Any final thoughts on Matt Reeves directing Batman? Any expectations? Anything like that?
I'm not setting any expectations. I'm gonna hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Honestly, like at this point, because
It sucks that we have to do that.
Yeah, the reason why I'm doing this is because Noel just read an article that solidifies that substantial opinion from
Just
me.
that-
Like
that fear.
that's what I have to do because
Yeah.
how many changes have we seen? This film has yet to even shoot. We don't even have a script.
Granted, though, this sort of thing probably happens with every movie.
It's
just the fact that this is Batman.
It's just hypersensitive.
Everybody's like, oh, it's Batman. It's Batman. It's Batman. He's the most famous superhero on the
Yep.
planet.
You've seen him done right in so
Yeah.
many ways, so it's terrifying that something may come up that can ruin that track record for him.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lego Batman. Actually, I'm really happy about that because I think it's giving a cinematic, like, new tone on the same character. Which I think we talked about this on the show before. My biggest fear is that people, like kids, are gonna grow up in a world where
It's only angry, evil, terrible Batman.
yeah, it's only angry, evil, mad Batman. It's like these movies aren't doing really well. They're not really appealing towards kids, and kids are gonna grow up not liking Batman.
There's no Batman animated series right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what was the last one? Brave and the Bold.
No, the new Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justice League Action stars Batman pretty heavily, and it's actually really awesome.
Right,
Justice League
but
Action is
there's
pretty
a big difference between, like, you know, even like something like Teen Titans Go when you have ensemble cast,
Yeah.
versus a solo Batman
Sure,
series.
sure,
Like-
totally.
Like I think anybody at this table would argue that the Batman animated series is one of the top 3 of their lives, if not some of you guys saying it's your favorite one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And
Oh, yeah.
there isn't something like that for kids today to latch onto.
No.
Yeah, and
At least
Batman's
not
the
for
easiest.
superhero
Yeah.
stuff.
There's really that doesn't exist for any superhero right
Agreed.
now
There-
in an animated sense.
No, there's
I
some,
can't even think of any other universe, like not even superhero related, that has something like that for kids at this day and age.
that appeals to adults as well. That's the thing about Batman the animated series is you can watch it now, and these are
Yeah.
great
Not
detective
consistent.
And I was
to
going to
watch
say
that.
Samurai Jack is
Not-
coming
yeah,
back, but
not
it's on
consistent.
Adult Swim
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
our last one was Young Justice.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
it's coming back.
It's coming back,
Yes.
yep. Well, Young Justice is actually.
I think you scared Fred.
Young Justice.
Nope, used to it.
I think
Fred,
Young-
you ready for Young Justice season 3? Whoa, that's my boy.
You have to be louder. They can't hear you all the way over here.
Can you hear him on the mic?
As we're talking to him off
Have
screen.
you seen
He's
this?
saying he's trying not to be disruptive. We're
Cool.
gonna get you a mic.
Damn it, Kevin.
Who's Kevin? I'm just kidding.
Who's Kevin? Kevin, the guy that we've hung out with and drank with on multiple occasions.
Kevin's great. We love Kevin.
All right, well, let's close out.
Yes.
No final thoughts?
Zero thoughts.
Okay.
I can't think.
No reader mail this week because we went on long. But we love you guys. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm at Danny Leshep. Jeremy at Jeremy Lee with 3 Y's. Tony's
That's
at
Jeremy.
Walk on Tony. Noel's at Noel the Chef on Instagram. We're all everything I just said except for Noel. He's now ew. And John is at the John Carl on Twitter.
At the John Carl on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Whiskey and Waffles.
Boom. Make sure to follow him, subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you're going to be at Long Beach Comic Expo, you can meet John. John is moderating our panel at Long Beach. So
Yeah, I still have to plan that out, right?
yeah, he's totally at the plan that out. We haven't planned that out at all. It's great.
Wait, we're planning something?
We're professionals.
1 week away.
I never said that.
Wait, we have a panel?
We have a Daniel.
Wait,
What up?
there's a convention?
Sucks. Sucks.
Ugly. It's just.
Oh my God.
I
What,
can't see.
what are you
good.
doing?
I don't know.
I cannot see.
The audio is just like
Are we
what?
done?
Like
Are
what's
we done?
happening?
We're never done.
It starts with
So let's close the fuck
I don't
out.
know why.
Later, guys. We love you.
I
You
really
stay
don't.
classy. Spear
Farewell.
fingers.
Fare thee well.
Fare thee well. All right.
Yep.